Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. May I welcome you to our fifth webinar. This webinar is part of a IUFRO webinar series from the Tree Growth, Mortality and Remote Sensing Working Party and will be held by Johan Fransson today. In this webinar, note that we will record the webinar held by Johan Fransson. After his presentation, the recording will be stopped so that everyone can feel more at ease when asking questions afterwards. His presentation will take about 30 to 45 minutes, so that there will be 15 minutes of time for questions after that. Before I introduce Johan Fransson, I want to briefly introduce the IUFRO. So IUFRO is a global network of forest science collaboration. IUFRO is a non-profit governmental international network of forest scientists, and it's a global network for voluntary collaboration that is open to all individuals, forest research products and related disciplines. How does IUFRO work? IUFRO advances research excellence and knowledge sharing and fosters development of science-based solutions to forest-related challenges for benefit of forests and people worldwide. IUFRO preserves the thematic structure of forest-related research, and IUFRO addresses research needs for members, stakeholders, including policy, decision practitioners, industry, and civils. IUFRO is divided in 9 divisions, 60 research groups, 13 task forces, and 4 special programs. And our webinar today is part of the IUFRO Division 4, Forest Assessment, Modeling and Management, and part of the working group Tree Growth, Mortality and Remote Sensing. If you're interested, it would be very nice if you could get involved with IUFRO, so you can visit the IUFRO website, look for IUFRO units under work, find more out about main bodies, and participate in IUFRO co-sponsored events, in publications, or become a member and office holder, and would be happy if you would get involved. With that, is a short introduction to IUFRO, and it is now a pleasure for me to introduce Johan Fransson, who will talk about visualizing individual tree characteristics. Johan Fransson is from Linnaeus University, and he will present the Atelier Super Test site, who will showcase visualizing individual tree attributes, multi-sensor estimates of forest attributes, and applications advancing precision forestry. Johan, it is a pleasure to have you here today. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sonja, for this introduction and for having me here for this IUFRO webinar. I will talk about ongoing activities at the University of Linnaeus University, and also about, of course, visualizing individual tree characteristic and our new super test site outside Växjö. Can you see my slide now, and can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is working well? Yeah.
Yes.
So my name is Johan Fransson, and I'm at the Faculty of Technology and at the Department of Forestry and Wood Technology at Linnaeus University. At quite young university in southern Sweden, and it's have 2 campuses, one in Växjö and one in Kalmar. And I'm at the campus in Växjö, and in the middle of the county of Småland. The university was formed 1st of January 2010, so we're only 16 years old now, a little bit more than 16 years old now. Okay, I'll go through some of the projects, ongoing projects that I'm working with, and one of the biggest project that also Sonja and a lot of other people are involved in is called Opti4Value. And Opti4Value project is a Horizon Europe project and the objective is to uh, try to enhance and improve the whole forest value chain and optimize the forest operations for sustainable forest management. And as you can see here on the map, we have four um, super test sites, one in Spain, one in Austria. Sonja is the manager there, and one in Sweden. This Attsjö super test site that I will talk more about in the end of this presentation, and also one super test site in Finland. And then we have, in addition, 8 other star-marked locations where we collect data. For these super test sites, we collect drone data. So I'm about finishing the campaign, the across Europe Opti for Value drone campaign this year. So I've been in Austria and Spain, and I'm heading back actually right now from Finland to Sweden to fly Attsjö super test site again. So then we've been collecting data, RGB data, multispectral data, LiDAR data, but above all hyperspectral data at these sites. And we have also the ambition to have sensors installed on trees and collect tree physiology parameters on these super test sites. So we have sap flows and measuring the water flow, and also dendrometers measuring the growth on a diurnal and scale, and also throughout the vegetation season. So we collect a lot of data on these 4 sites. And also we had taken bore cores on these super test sites, but also on these additional 8 sites. And these bore cores will be analyzed by doing isotopic analysis, and also we do like dendrochemistry analysis on these bore cores to find out the chemical components in the trees at these sites. To link them to remote sensing data over time. This project, as you can see here, started in 2024 and will end 2029. So we collect the data on these super test sites every year with drone data campaigns, 2025, 26, and also next year, 2027. And then we take a bore course once at the other sites. And on top of this, we also use satellite data for all sites to link to this tree physiology parameters. It's 17 partners across Europe. We had the first annual meeting last year in Växjö, that meeting in Spain coming up this autumn in November. So this is one of the biggest projects to map individual trees and to characterize single. Another slide from the project show the overall setting. We have in total 6 work packages, and we go from forest inventory down to wood processing. So it spans over the whole forest value chain. And another EU project launched at the same time, run by University of Padua in Italy, has more or less similar content when it comes to remote sensing. In this project, as you can see here, we have work package 2, remote sensing. I'm involved in this work package with collecting drone data and also satellite data. And also here we go from actually from indoor environment to greenhouse environment and to outdoors measurements in real forest to do upscaling from this environment step by step, and try to cover like larger regions. We're using and linking this analysis and drone data collection to satellite data. So it aims both for abiotic and biotic damages, but more focus, I would say, to biotic damages. It's also 17 partners involved, and it runs here to 2028. As you can see here, it's go from small, medium to large scale. So the scaling is the red thread here in this EU project. To greenhouse, to stand level, to landscapes, I would say beyond, to map the tree health. Then we have also this number of case studies like you. Project in Europe is for it's 1,020 million Vytautas Magnus University in Lithuania. And this project aimed for establishing a center of excellence in Lithuania. So we have a lot of meetings both in Sweden and in Kaunas and so on, and try to build up this excellence center uh, in the forest value chain. So it also covers the forest value chain. So these three EU projects is a little bit overlapping each other. This is also 6 years project and will end in 2029. Uh, and I had another EU project up and running. Actually, in Optim for Value, I'm the coordinator of Work Package 1, and in Foresight, I'm a co-worker in Work Package 2, there in remote sensing. And then in Forest 4.0, I also like a co-worker in the remote sensing part. And also it will cover education. So we will launch education between Sweden, Linnaeus University, and Lithuania, Vytautas Magnus University, in like a full master program aiming at digitalization in forestry. Actually, we have a Master of Science in Science program in Linnaeus University, forest education, that we started. Is it like 2024 now? We started in the autumn, and that is I run a course there in digitalization in forestry, but within Forest 4.0 project that project will have a full master program under the umbrella of digitalization in forestry. So that is a new thing coming up. Another project here, EU project, is about to end. It's ended last year. We have some reporting left to do. It's the forest map, and this project I've been coordinated over like these years, 22, 23, 24, 25, 4 years project. And this aims to take the next generation of forest maps, attribute maps, and do upscaling also from our achievements in Sweden using NFI data, National Forest Inventory data, and together with LiDAR data primarily, but also other data sources like satellite data and so on. But instead of doing the ordinary traditional way to model the parameters, the basic parameters like tree height, like diameter, basal area, volume, and biomass through regression analysis, ordinary regression analysis, with taking one step further to do AI modeling of these parameters. And we managed to improve all these basic parameters to actually, yeah, improved and the RMS in terms of RMS or the accuracy of the parameter estimates decreased when using the new framework of AI modeling for within this project. It's a smaller project, 1 million euro, and actually it's we start to wrap up this project now. Well, another thing is that we do the training of these models, the AM models in Sweden, as I mentioned, using NFI data, National Forest Inventory data, and LiDAR data, and then we do something that we call transfer learning. So now we are about to do a map in of Latvia, using their NFI data and LiDAR data, but they have much fewer sample plots. So therefore, we train the network with the Swedish data on about starting out in about in the order of 20,000 plots across Sweden, and then we use this model, train model, when we do the mapping of Latvia, the forest map attribute map of Latvia, adding their 2,000 sample plots and LiDAR data. So we do. I've been working quite a lot with what we call transfer learning, and utilize the model training from our country, Sweden, and then as a base for improving and getting better results for other countries. And the first country out here was Latvia. There is one plan to do this transfer learning also to Lithuania, and then we'll see if we maybe would have other countries mapped also within this framework in future projects. Then you see here is the Swedish forest attribute map. As I mentioned, it's based on LiDAR data, national scanning, LiDAR scanning. In Sweden, we now go for the third round of laser scanning. They started in 2009 to 2016 with about 1 point per square meter. That was the first scanning, extracting this basic forest parameters like tree height, diameter, basal area, volume, and biomass. The second round started in 2018 and ended 2025, and now we started the third round of laser scanning. The first and second is about the first was 1 point per square meter, then it increased to a little bit more, 1 to 2 points per square meter, and it's still 1 to 2 points per square meter now for this round, the third round. But we have just finished a project in southern Sweden. That will be of importance for southern Sweden firsthand, to have a feasibility study of scanning southern Sweden with 20 points per square meter using LiDAR. So we reported this project, and we will see if it will be a pilot project. If so, the county of Småland, my home county, and the island Öland will be scanned with 20 points per square meter. For example, Finland is already started with 20 points per square meter. And if you have denser point cloud, then you can see more of the trees, of course. You can actually go for individual trees and characterize the single trees in a better way, much better way than you have this sparse 1 to 2 points per square meter point cloud. So that is an upcoming project also, hopefully, that we can scan Småland and Öland. It's not decided yet, but if we can do that, it could be like a role model for the whole of Sweden to be scanned next round. More dense point density, increased point density with 20 points per square meter. This is some of the results and the architecture of the model that we used, going from ordinary regression analysis, shown in blue for the different parameters, and then the orange bars here is for the new CNN, convolution neural network AI approach. And as you can see here, the RMS is the arrow decrease from ordinary regression analysis to the new CNN approach for height, diameter, basal area, stem volume, and biomass. So we believe that we can squeeze out more information using AI models, even to model these forest parameters. We have a lot of other projects. One of my PhD student. She's working, Esra Şengün, from Istanbul Technical University, working as a PhD student at Linnaeus University now, with me as with me as a supervisor, and she's uh, have model the tree, and first of all detect the single tree. So we have a paper now with revision that will be submitted, hopefully published during the fall, using the YOLO model. You only look once model, quite a common model, but also developed in different versions that we investigate how we can improve the individual tree detection, because everything starts with detection of individual trees, and when we have the individual tree, then we can extract the parameters for that tree, for each tree that we can detect. So this is going to be presented now also for tree species classification. That is the second paper in her thesis. So first paper about detection of tree species classification using the YOLO model. Another project that have quite high impact or relevance is what we call the northern traffic lights. And in this project, we seek for classifying gravel roads, so forest gravel roads, into bearing capacity, so we can estimate um, do estimation how good it is to transport wood out from the forest to the industry in a changing climate. And this will be like mapped like red segments, then is no go, and yellow, okay, there is a possibility, and green, fine to go with the trucks, timber trucks. So therefore we call it the northern traffic lights. So we have like a red, yellow, and green light for transporting timber. So this is up and running also, and this actually has a connection with the Opti for Value work package 3. So we have collaboration within these two projects when it comes to road trafficability. Another one is to use AI models and estimate trees on or identify trees on tree level. And we in this project we have compared ordinary like 2D models with 3D AI models to segment out individual trees. And this is to improve forest management and ecological and, in this context when we the harvester then come and pick a tree, for example, the uh, do thinning cutting. Then we will have more information from the machine, from the harvester, about that tree, and that information is more precise, measuring the whole trunk piece by piece and so on. So that information could give a feedback loop to our AI model, initial AI model used to model the whole stand, for example, that will be thinning cut from the beginning. And then each tree cut by the harvester will give information back to the model and to improve the model, the initial model of the forest. And for example, if you go for thinning cutting and want to harvest like 25% of the basal area, you can actually reach that goal very precise. If you don't have this support and feedback loop, initial modeling of the forest using different techniques and then improving it by using harvested data, then you can then end up with 20% or 35% of thinning. But if you like to go for 30%, because the site is have that condition that you can take out 30%, then you can steer and control this in a much better way. So this is like adaptive AI calibration of forest map, a tree level project about. And you can see here we segment out trees and uh, try to characterize the trees. So you can see here we have four examples with different, where you can see the undergrowth and not undergrowth, and there are different types of problem and challenges that you have to solve. But this is the data we will work with, LiDAR data in combination with optical data. And the AI models with deep learning could give you these two results of the same tree or trees. On the left hand side, you can see the different red tree and the smaller yellow tree and the ground. And here on the right hand side, you can see that we have the canopy in yellow and the tree trunks in green and the ground in blue. So we can segment out different parts of the forest also, of course, given the density of the forest. Another one is that we measure tree volume using AI. It's a project with Catam Technologies in Sweden, together with the Brazilian colleagues. And this is that we use like this technique with the camera, handheld, smartphone, and then we from this smartphone we can map the tree trunks, the lower part, and from the lower part the objective is then to estimate the stem volume. So we use the lower stem here, and then we use AI model to train the model to estimate the volume of the whole tree. And that we will do now, that we do now with using harvested data. So this is another technique coming up and another projects ongoing. Then we have also early detection of forest damage. So we analyze our RGB data, multispectral data, and also hyperspectral data, and extract the reflected light from the tree crowns and follow over time. So here you can see some preliminary results from different bands, green, red edge, and infrared, how they develop over time. And here in July we have the with a nature care. So we have ongoing projects here also with the Forestry Research Institute of Sweden to evaluate different remote sensing techniques to actually map the trees left when you harvest the forest. It's important for certification and these kind of things, and also for, of course, overall for biodiversity and for the forest health. Here is one piece of forest at my backyard. I do a lot of experiments at home since I have a small farm, a small piece of forest that I can elaborate with. This is like retention trees or trees left after harvesting, and you can see high stumps here and also smaller stumps in this area. I don't know if you can see my pointer here on my hand. You can see like there are some stamps there. Uh, I don't know if it's better shown like this. And yeah, this area here is like a pile of stones from a long time ago when they cultivated this area, and this need to be protected. So this is LiDAR data colored with RGB data. Yeah, and if we go further then. Um, in the projects here, we can see that we have Atco super test site. And this is a big investment now for us at Linnaeus University to build this super test site. We have already done this inventory for 508 with about 10-meter radius, and we have collected about 13,000 trees now in our database, and we will go for 25,000 trees when we are finished. So this super test sites is not only collecting data from the ground, but also collecting data from above, and also from sensors installed in the trees. So this year we'll cover the whole area, 2,300 hectares, with RGB, multispectral data, and LiDAR data. We already collected this drone data in spring or early summer, and we will launch a new campaign now when I come back to Sweden. Um, Actually, this will be kick off during this weekend, and we will hyperspectral RGB data, multispectral data, hyperspectral data, and LiDAR data. And also in the future, we will be also collecting drone data using collecting radar data using drones. So this is 20 kilometers east of Växjö, so it's quite nearby. From the university, it takes about half an hour to get to the test site. And we have also like a lot of teaching ongoing here with our students. It's mainly pine forest, Pinus sylvestris, mixed with some spruce. But we focus now here more on pine because we think that pine will be like important tree species in the future with climate change, and if we're approaching more drought condition in southern Sweden. I will zoom in also. We have like 4 flax masts installed here in this core area, and we will build a radar tower also. Up in this northwest part, I have a ring barking project ongoing with a lot of sensors. I could say in this area here, we have one pine stand and one spruce stand. And the pine stand, we have 36 sensor trees, and in the spruce we have 36 also 36 sensor trees, and that is set up in a randomized block trial for a ring barking trial. And now we have like 36 dendromet plus 36 sap flows for pine, an equal amount in spruce. So we have like 72 times 2 sense 144 sensors up and running there now, collecting reference data during this vegetation season. And next season we will have 100% ringbark tree, 75% and 50%, and compare that with the controlled non-ringbark tree. So that would be interesting to follow the what to say, like the spectral profiles from the canopies from pine and spruce over time in this experiment. We fly each week or bi-weekly up there with RGB, multispectral, hyperspectral, and LiDAR data. And also in this area here, I will show you where we set up the two flax mast and radar tower. We also fly bi-weekly, and on those two sites we also like have more tree measurements done from the ground surveys. So if we take IUFRO Super Test Site a little bit more in detail here, you see that we collect these kind of data set, high resolution data, RGB multispectral 5 centimeter resolution LiDAR across the whole property, 250 points. For these small areas, we collect up to 4,000 points per square meter to really try to be able to count twigs and so on, and branches. And we have 580 field plots. These 50 field plots will be validation plots that will be a bit bigger, so we can also evaluate satellite data, of course, coarser resolution satellite remote sensing data. We have also taken bore cores across the whole Atjö estate, and we do analysis of this and extract the chemical components. So, but we record a lot of different parameters, of course, the coordinates of the trees and tree species, diameter, damage type, and grade, and so forth. So here's example of LiDAR, a point cloud covering a part of Atjö. And the big thing here, I would say, it's to build a new radar tower that will measure the water content in the trees. So this is ongoing. This will be up and running in the autumn, hopefully to our EFI conference that we will have in 16th of 18th of September. We will host the EFI annual meeting, European Forest Institute meeting. And this radar tower will have 4 different sensors of frequencies monitoring the footprint of the forest to dive into the water content in the trees. So we say that we can measure the forest heartbeat following the reflected light or reflected like radar echo from the radar sensors. And here we see a graph of relative vegetation water content by time. And if it's going up and down like this, then we have the like a good heartbeat. But if it's decline and the amplitude decrease also, then something is wrong with the water content in the tree. And then we can trace this as or classify this as abiotic or biotic damage. But we actually can follow the heartbeat through this technology, since the radar penetrate through the stem like 2-3 centimeters and can measure the water content inside the trees on a diurnal scale. So when the sun rise and then the photosynthesis start, then the tree start the transpiration, and the water will decrease over day, and then sunset, then the tree will stop the photosynthesis of the needles, and then it will refill with water. And we can follow this with the dendrometers, that the trees shrink and expand on the diurnal scale, but also from this reflected energy from the radar waves, that they increase and decrease with the water content on the diurnal scale. So that is what I call the heartbeat of the forest. And we can follow this also, like you see here, the reflectivity or the reflected light or the radar echo. It's not light, it's radar microwaves and longer wavelength, also like up to decimeter long wavelength. We can follow this on the diurnal scale. Here we have some precipitation, therefore it's a bit wetter, so we have a higher peak here, but we know that it's precipitation, so we can do the calibration for this. Otherwise here it was like an infestation of bark beetles in this previous Boris Cat 1 site, and this bark beetles was killing the trees, so eventually they all died. That you can see the starting of the decline in vitality here. So we can actually read from these signals, the reflected radar echoes, the water content, and relate that to forest damage. This is how the site will look like. Radar tower flanked by 2 flax masts, and we will measure the sap flow, dendrometer data, stem water potential, soil moisture sensor. Will measure a lot of data here to keep track of the water content. And also from the flax moss here, we measure the carbon dioxide, and that is the forest breathing, you can say. And the radar is the heartbeat. So we try to be good doctors and take the status of the forest health in our focus of our research. I mean, for this flax moss also we measured transpiration and radiation. That is really, of course, important parameters for the water modeling. And in this area here, we can say that we have measured 2,200 trees. The stars represent sap flows in dendrometers. We have the radar tower in the middle here, the foot measuring these tree physiological data, and also from the eddy covariance flux measurements devices. We study, of course, this as well. I mean, there's a water balance and carbon balance. And everything we call forest edge, and we're building up like a flexible next generation laboratory here at Linnaeus University, and it's also is both indoors and outdoors activities. And what I presented now, it's mainly, I mean, it's the outdoor activities that we have been working with since a couple of years ago. So this will be like tomorrow's laboratory environment, the flexible environment to form the base for our future research. With that, I would like to thank you very much for listening to me for this presentation. And I stop sharing.
So thank you very much for this inspiring presentation on what can be measured at the small spatial scale. It was an overview reaching from radar data over LiDAR data, hyperspectral data. Maybe I can ask one icebreak question, and then of course please don't hesitate to put your questions in the chat, and Francesco and myself will moderate the discussion. At that point, I will also stop the recording.